Next, let's see what's the pick of the papers, what the world media are talking about. Deeptika Laurent is here. I think hard to miss, starting off the first story with gratis. Congratulations to Sweden, the 32nd member of NATO.
That's right, a historic yes to a process that began just after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Dagens Nyheter, which is a major Swedish paper, calling it headlining on that, saying it's an historic yes to Sweden joining NATO, choosing to nonetheless headline with a picture of Viktor Orban on its front page. Viktor Orban in Parliament, the Hungarian leader, because indeed Hungary's Parliament finally ratified Sweden's NATO bid after more than a year of delays. It was the last obstacle really standing in the way of Sweden joining NATO. This paper here, the Svenska Dagbladet, calls it an historic day, headlining rather on the Swedish Prime Minister on its front page, quoting him as saying that it was a historic day. It also marks, of course, an end to 2 centuries of a policy of military neutrality in the country, the paper notes.
It's incredible. And also, I suppose, Sweden, with the help of some leasing of some Gripen aircraft to Hungary too, a decision that's been noted across international press today.
Yeah, the Wall Street Journal, Gavin, hailing this decision today as well. Also noting why Sweden joining NATO will bring a lot of benefits to the alliance itself. For the Wall Street Journal, NATO gains with Sweden a solidly anti-Russian member with a world-class military industry that will provide critical defense of Europe's northern flank. It also provides a successful model for national security because Sweden engages teenagers, retirees, public school teachers, police officers as part of its strategy of national defense. It's a stark contrast to views elsewhere that national security should be handled only by a nation's military.
Here in France, something that I think many children in the UK, the US and elsewhere might be used to, but with the school holidays over, in the south of France, it's back to school with a difference.
Yeah, back to school with a uniform, Gavin. It's part of a national experiment, as you said there. That's right. For many of us living in the UK, parts of the US, Australia, New Zealand, India, wearing a uniform is something that has really been, synonymous with our childhoods. But here in France, it is a very foreign concept. In any case, the national experiment is the brainchild, or at least was spearheaded by former Education Minister, now Prime Minister Gabriel Attal. Around 100 schools are trialing it, and if it's successful, it could be implemented. It could be a mandatory thing in French schools in about 2 years' time. The uniforms themselves are quite arbitrary. That's what Le Figaro explains. It sort of usually has been left to the decision of children and schools themselves, but kind of consists of a polo shirt, a blazer and sweater. Le Figaro heads to Béziers, which is one of the first towns to try out this uniform experiment. Children have reacted rather positively. One child here is quoted as saying it feels like we're in Harry Potter. One parent is quoted as saying that it's great because it puts everyone on equal footing in terms of socioeconomic status. But it is a controversial idea. Detractors say that the money could be better spent. And one teacher is quoted as saying the uniforms will not necessarily foster school spirit or improve grades, and that it simply takes France back 100 years.
It's a good colour. Mine was a horrible burgundy. Hated it. Definitely wasn't Harry Potter. What's this about Taylor Swift's dad punching a photographer, allegedly? Allegedly, he has indeed been accused of this, Gavin. She performed 4 shows in Sydney recently. She's just wrapped them up. She was boarding a mega yacht to celebrate the end of her tour there when a photographer alleges that a 71-year-old man who's now been identified potentially as Scott Swift, Taylor's dad, was allegedly punched this photographer, I quote, in his chops. Taylor Swift rap has responded saying that 2 individuals were aggressively pushing their way towards Taylor and displaying threatening behavior. Anyway, excitement has been at fever pitch since she touched down in Sydney. She was accompanied a few days later by her Super Bowl winning NFL boyfriend, Travis Kelce. So this certainly will put a little bit of a dampener, but not too much, I think, for many of those who attended the concert. Finally, what is going on with Peppa Pig? We're both parents of toddlers. Criticism that she's turning little viewers into brats.
That's right. Although I'm not sure if Peppa Pig needs to be done in order to make kids brats. But listen, Peppa Pig has been credited for helping children learn English worldwide. There have actually been studies on the linguistic impact of Peppa Pig. At the height of the pandemic, she made millions of American kids speak with a British accent. Now she's being accused of making those very little children rude little brats. For some parents, she's insolent, she's bossy, a tattletale, a liar, and she's making her negative mark on impressionable young little minds. They quote an episode where the Times is talking about this. They quote an episode where she can't whistle, but her best friend Susie Sheep can whistle, and instead of being happy for her best friend, she hangs the phone up on her. Defenders of Peppa Pig says she's simply being a real 4-year-old with all of her flaws, rather than offering a sanitized version of a perfect little child. They even call her a preschool anti-hero who forces parents and children to reckon with their own shortcomings. Gavin.
Quick mention, Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom may be the way forward. Same makers, only issue is the main character, less annoying. Nanny Plum is a bit sarcastic. So what do you want, brat or sarcastic? Who knows? Stay with us here on France 24. We'll be back in a few minutes with the main headlines.